Imagine waking up thousands of years ago and discovering that someone from your group has died. There is no hospital. No funeral home. No written explanation of what happens after death. Yet archaeological evidence shows that ancient humans did something remarkable. They often treated their dead with care. But why? And what did they actually do? The earliest evidence of intentional human burials goes back hundreds of thousands of years, although exactly when deliberate burial began remains debated. At some archaeological sites, human bodies were placed in pits and covered with soil. This was not simply leaving a body where it fell. Someone had to dig the burial place, move the body, and cover it. That required time and cooperation. But burial practices were not the same everywhere. Some ancient communities may have buried bodies in simple pits. Others placed people in specific positions, sometimes lying on their sides or curled up. In some burials, archaeologists have discovered objects near the body. These can include stone tools, animal remains, shells, beads, or pigments such as red ochre. But scientists must be careful. Finding an object near a skeleton does not automatically prove it was intentionally placed there as a grave offering. Archaeologists examine the position of the objects, the burial context, and other evidence before deciding what happened. One of the most famous examples comes from Neanderthal sites. At Shanidar Cave in Iraq, several Neanderthal individuals were buried, and researchers have debated whether some plant remains found near a burial represent deliberate placement or natural processes. The evidence is fascinating, but scientists continue to investigate exactly what these discoveries mean. Burial may also have protected the living. A body left exposed could attract scavengers and create problems for a group living nearby. Placing it underground could reduce those risks and keep the body away from the main living area. But there was probably more than survival involved. Humans form powerful social bonds. When someone died, relatives and companions lost someone they depended on, hunted with, cared for, or loved. The decision to spend time preparing a body or burial may therefore have reflected grief, respect, social traditions, or beliefs about death. We cannot know exactly what ancient people were thinking. There were no written records explaining their beliefs. That is one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. Sometimes researchers find evidence that bodies were buried with unusual objects or pigments. These discoveries raise the possibility that ancient communities had symbolic ideas about death. But archaeology cannot simply look at a grave and know what a person believed. The same object could have had different meanings in different cultures. Over thousands of years, burial practices became increasingly diverse. Some societies buried their dead in individual graves. Others used caves, collective burial places, or later traditions involving cremation and other forms of body treatment. The important point is that humans did not develop one universal way of dealing with death. Different communities created different traditions. And those traditions changed as human societies changed. So imagine that prehistoric camp again. Someone important has died. The group gathers. They decide where the body should go. They dig into the earth. They carefully place the person inside. Perhaps they add an object. Perhaps they use pigment. Perhaps they simply cover the grave with soil. We cannot know every detail. But the archaeological evidence tells us something powerful. Ancient humans understood that death mattered. They remembered the people who disappeared from their lives. They invested time and effort in what happened to their bodies. And in some cases, they may have expressed ideas about death that went far beyond simple survival. We often think of ancient humans as focused only on finding food and avoiding predators. But their treatment of the dead reveals another side of human evolution. They were social. They formed deep relationships. They experienced loss. And they developed traditions for facing one of the oldest mysteries of all. What happens when someone we love is gone?